here that's unique, and what we do as a company is fairly unique in that we're open source. Not doesn't just mean we use Linux, but it's a very open development environment. So there's a lot of sharing of information from initial product specs, release of schematics, in addition to the source code, and a lot of open discussion from the very early phase of it, including releasing these prototypes to the public. And a lot of the reason we have so much passion about this is beyond just open source releasing source code. This also leads to a couple of very important freedoms that are kind of in play right now. One of them is very simply the freedom to communicate. There's a lot of discussion about set-top boxes going to IPTV, but essentially what this really is going from coax cable to Ethernet with the same proprietary closed walled garden content that the cable providers and ultimately coming from Hollywood are giving. What's very unique about this, what's very important, is that this is genuinely an internet appliance. So it's entirely open. It runs Linux. The source code is open. It connects obviously with open protocols, and it's everything is accessible to it. Will it be able to play all Google video or YouTube day one? No, but it will happen. The reason it'll happen is because it's an open device. And this is more than just being able to watch cute videos on your TV set. This is really about the freedom of people to communicate. And it's naive for us to think that those freedoms can't be turned back or restrained. Between the software patents and the Digital Learning Copyright Act, some of the freedoms that we have as consumers do get rolled back over time. And in the last legislative session, there was a bill proposed to close this the analog hole, as the entrenched copyright interests call it, which essentially is going to make a device like this impossible to produce, and essentially put us out of business. And for something that really, at the end of the day, is a pretty innocuous connector, it's a red herring to say it's used as piracy. This is one of the big guises that's used for more control. But essentially, there's going to be over the next couple of years that kind of freedom in play that's going to determine your ability to transmit things, to friends and family, or produce content that's going to be seen, by anyone directly on their TV set without being filtered through Hollywood and cable satellite provider. And the way this is going to happen, the battle really is fought right here, because by the time it reaches the average mainstream consumer, it's often too late. It's very difficult to turn back. The Digital Learning Copyright Act is law today, and rolling it back, these efforts. But once something becomes law, there's a lot of inertia behind it. It's very difficult to change those things and roll them back. So it's up to you to be the evangelist to articulate to more mainstream audience why these things are so important. And the second, for us on the open source side, again, more than just sharing code, it's really freedom to assemble. You look at all these little projects that do small things on the internet with open source code, but what's really at stake there is the freedom of people to collaborate on things. Again, that's very much under siege between Digital Learning Copyright Act, software patents, all the things you guys are well aware of. But this is an area that's the closest thing we have to a pure meritocracy around. There's no corporate HR departments who are determining who gets to participate in these open source projects. You're not handing in resumes. You're not checking with the politics of your organization, whether you're part of the the good old boys club that's in or not, whether the project gets funded. This is an opportunity to the best of your ability to participate in a project and really show what you can do. And that's like a beacon to so many people throughout this entire planet. Again, those are under siege as well. But to the extent that open products are really valued by consumers and developers embrace them and they have momentum, that can be a very unstoppable force. At the last meeting we had here, a couple of the execs from Motorola said that they believe that all the cell phones will be a part of open, more open infrastructure in this country instead of the walled garden we have now with some of the wireless providers. They believe that as more open technologies come out, it will be an irresistible force. In other words, once you've got a phone that can connect to anything, consumers will recognize the value of that openness and will demand it. And I hope that's true, but I don't think it's a given. I think it would be naive to think that it would just fall in place without some considerable effort. So I'll get off my soapbox and actually do the demo here. But I want to give you a little context of what we're about, why we're doing things, why release the source code, why release collaborative development, why it's important. What this is